Hello, everyone. In this video, I'll teach you how to make a budget template. A budget template that will automate based on what you enter in the track, show you how much money you've left in each category, and will change based on what month you select in the drop-down list. And the best part is you can do it in less than 15 minutes. So, let's get started. Before that, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and feel free to hit that like button. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is create a table that we'll be entering transactions into. So adding headers is the first part. I like to have these headings, but you can probably do whatever you want to. I add month, the date, the description of the transaction, the category the transaction belongs to, a column for income values, a column for debit values, and then the running balance. Now I'll turn this into a table with alternating rows. I'll do that by highlighting the columns I want to turn into a table and then select Format as Table from the Home ribbon bar. Green with the alternating color seems to make sense for a budget, but pick whatever color you want. Once you get the pop-up, ensure that the My Table Has Headers option is checked, then stretch the columns to a size that satisfies you. The next step is to add the necessary formulas and number formatting to the table to get it to do the most work for us. I'm going to add the starting date so that we can build one of our formulas off of that, and I'm going to make the date format something that I'd like by highlighting column B and right-clicking and selecting Cell Format. Here I can change the date format by clicking Date on the Number tab. Now I'm going to set up a formula in column A to pull only the month number from the cell in column B. I can do that by typing equals month, opening parentheses, then clicking on cell B2, then closing parentheses and hit enter. The formula should automatically move to the column since it is part of a table. Now, when it entered new dates, it will autofill the month for that date. We'll use this later. The next thing I'll do is add drop-down lists in column D. This will allow me to pick what category expenses are in. To do that, I'm going to highlight all of column D, but then hold down the Control key and unselect the header. Now from the data table, select Data Validation from the ribbon. When you see the pop-up, choose the list from the Allow drop-down list in the source. Type the categories you want the comma in between each. I'm going to add income, mortgage, utilities, grocery and gas, and entertainment. The next step is to format column E through G as currency. That's simple. Highlight the columns and then click on the $sign from the ribbon in the Home tab. The next step is to add a formula to get a running balance. Before that, I'm going to add a bunch of transactions to the list so you can see how this works in the simplest form. Alright, so now that I have a bunch of expenses and some income added, we can work on the formula to get a running balance. I'm going to do this in 2 steps. I'm going to type the actual starting balance in cell G2. Now in the next cell I'm going to put equal sum, then opening parentheses, then take the balance in the previous cell, and then add income and subtract expenses on this row, closing parentheses and hit enter. You'll get an option over here to hit autofill. We aren't going to do that for this part because it would replace what we have in G2 for the starting balance. Instead, we're going to copy what we have in G3 and select all of column G. Then while holding the Control key down, unselect the header cell and the starting balance cell. Now hit Control V to paste the formula and the remainder of the column. There's our running balance. You can see now that if I add expenses or income, the running balance changes. Now we are ready to start adding the progress bars, which will show us how much income we still need to make and how much we can still spend in each of our categories. I'll start that process by adding all of the categories we want to track in column I. Then I'll add a total column in J. Then I'll add a month I want to focus on in cell I1. Now I'm ready to start the SUMIF formula. Let's do income first. I'll type equals SUMIFs, then opening parentheses. Then I'll select the income column as my sum range, then the month column as my first criteria range, and I1 as the first criteria. Then I'll add the category column as my next criteria range, and income as my second criteria. Now I can close it with a parentheses and hit enter. This formula will sum the total income in January. Now, let's work on the expenses. I'll type equals SUMIFs, opening parentheses, then select the debits column as my sum range, the month column as my first criteria range, the month as the criteria, the category column as my next criteria range, and then gas/groceries as my criteria, closing parentheses, and hit enter. Now I should be able to just drag the formula down. Oops, that didn't work because I forgot to change the month's number to absolute. I'll click on that inside the formula and press F4 to ensure it always has I2 selected for the month. Now I can drag it down. For some reason, utilities isn't pulling anything. I think it's because I have it spelled incorrectly. Yep, that works. Now I'll just change this to currency. Now I'm ready to start adding my progress bars, which will show me how much income one still need to make and how much money I have available yet to spend in each category. Let's start with income first. I'll click on the cell with the value in it from the Home tab. I'll press Conditional Formatting and select Data Bars. Choose green for income. I'm also going to stretch the column to make it longer. Now, when I'm still on that cell, I'm going to click on Conditional Formatting and then on Manage Rules. From there, I'll double-click on my rule. Now I'm going to change the minimum and maximum to numbers. I'll leave the minimum at 0, and since I expect to make about $4,000 in a month, I'm going to change the maximum to $4,000. Then I can click OK, Apply, and OK. You can see that since I've tracked $2,000 worth of income so far in January, then I'm about halfway there. You can also see that if I change the values of the income in the tracker, the progress bar will update. Now I'll do the same for expenses, but I'll do them in red. I'll budget $400 a month for gas and groceries. I'll budget $100 for entertainment. I'll budget $225 for utilities. And I'll budget exactly $1,023.80 for mortgage, since it's auto-pay, and it's the same amount every month. Now I'll just clean this up and make it pretty by centering the month, adding some cell borders, and adding an outside border. The coolest thing about this is that it resets every month. You can see that if I add expenses for February and then change the month to 2, the progress bars will start over. And that's how you make a simple automated budget in under 15 minutes. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I see you again.